Peace. Peace. How's everybody? This is your brother and friend, Yeshaya Israel. Hoping and praying that everybody is well and will be better. It's been a minute since a brother's been online, and the last time I was online, I kind of want to explain what that was about. So, without any further ado, we are going to family in the music with this and get into the matter of what we're talking about. Now, I call this one here, Get It Together. Let's get it together. And what do I mean by that? Among these people, they are having their holiday and they are getting together and they are coming together and they're talking and they're building and things of that kind of nature. Now, I want to say this in due respect. Some may agree, some may disagree, but it comes with the situation at hand. Every day is a day to give thanks. The people who are giving thanks to whom they do not know and why others may not know why others are giving thanks should never have a bearing on why you, I, or anyone we know and love do so. Let me give an example. If somebody is, quote, giving thanks because they didn't get hit by a bus, another person at the same time can give thanks and say that they was able to make the bus and got on it. So it all in truth, knowing that every day is a day to give thanks and we have many things to be thankful for, where one mind is at. Now, what I mean when I say how do we look in the eyes of others is this. In many cases, among us as the house of Israel, brothers and sisters, we got Israelites who say the Sabbath is only in the daylight part of, quote, Saturday. Some say it goes from Friday evening to Saturday evening. You have some who say that the Sabbath is changing every week based upon the month. So those are three different understandings of when the Sabbath itself is that. Just as the person wrote in there, Saturdays and Sundays and Fridays are heathen Sabbath days. Saturdays and Sundays and Fridays are not, nor the God of Israel, aka the Almighty, aka the Creator, aka the I Am Holy Sabbath. See, that's a comment that was just put inside right there concerning that. So I'm saying that to say this. How do we look? Saying as one brother or sister, I don't know the person's gender, and saying that. Then you have some that say it's every timing regarding the lunar or the month cycle. See? Now, how does that look? If I were to sit there and bring this to my family that's up there eating things that we do not eat, and I bring them around the house of Israel, how would that look? If I share this link with family and were to say, here you go, they would sit there and be like, yo, these guys is confused. What is the point in being around that? So this is what I mean in going into this kind of matter and presentation. I'm taking the time out now among immediate family in a separate space and everything like that to sit there and speak upon this matter. When the jobs sit there and speak upon paying time and a half, many of us go because quote unquote holiday time. When they sit there and state that you'll get paid even not going into work, we don't sit there and give that back. We sit there and use it for our purposes. What is your purpose in this? This particular presentation is not going to get into whether quote unquote Saturday is, quote unquote lunar is. That's not what we about. But I just wanted to sit there and point out about how it looks to somebody who doesn't understand the reason of Sabbath coming into the house of Israel. How do we look in that particular case? So somebody wrote, we say the Almighty Sabbath is Wednesdays. That's I heard Mondays before. The person typed in saying Wednesdays. I can't bring my family to that. And so this, brothers and sisters, there's no disrespect intended or anything like that. But how do we look and to say in the eyes of other people? How do we look and mentioning this other people? Well, that camp does it that way and we do it this way. It makes those who are about getting it together say, you know what? I'm not trying to sit there and deal with that. How has that been a matter of advancing? In a job, they may ask you at the interview, what can you do to add to the company? When you deal with a job, you might sit there and ask, how can this add to me? Now, we want to sit there and talk about 6 days you shall labor and do all your work. That means that you got 6 days to sit there and handle everything. So that right there is very, very important for reference purposes. And family, knowing good and well whether or not these people out there, and when I say people, I'm talking about those that are not of our people, that are out there doing all kinds of things, eating all kinds of things and so forth and so on, how can we look when they're more united than us? They don't sit there and have different dates for their holidays or holidays. They are all in sequence. They are all organized. They are all preparing. Before the so-called Turkey Day, not far from where I work at, they're already promoting the Xmas Day. In Israel, what we have, no disrespect intended, done is debate when Sabbath is. We have debate when Passover is. We have debate whether we should even keep holy days outside of Sabbath. We have debated on the height and the width, correct me if I'm wrong, about that particular debate about with the size of the booth and the Feast of Booths. Dumb things to sit there and debate about. I remember seeing people debating it should be this feet by this feet regarding the booth. What are we doing, man? When these nations sit there and deal with their idols with the tree, they don't sit there and debate that. Israel has more of a spirit to want to debate and confront than these people sit there and use their holidays. They might be eating things that we know we should not be eating, but they do it in unison. When the people went to go and build the Tower of Babel, it got the creator's attention. They were united. When Israel cried out, when they was in those people with the Tower of Babel were wicked. When the children of Israel cried out in Egypt, the cry was united. Now you got Israelites doing holy days, different days, crying out. It's not united. So how do we look in the eyes of people? We want to talk about being a light to people. You never, as pointed out before, put the nation over the family, and you never put the tribe over the family. Or should I say, pardon me, the nation over the tribe, and then don't put the tribe over the family. A lot of times when people get their first job, say as children or young adults, ever so often the parents have to say, your first check, either you can keep it or give part of it to the house, because you're supposed to bring back into the fold, bring back into the family. What are we doing, family, immediate and extended? I'm among family members at this point that are not in this understanding. What they're doing and why they're doing what they're doing has no bearing on why I can say that I'm thankful for X, Y, and Z. And so how can we sit there in many cases, be a light to others, be a benefit to others, when many look forward to debate, when many look forward for controversy, when many look forward to not having something that is grounded? That is something we want to sit there and point out. In the 1980s, as far back as I can go in understanding of Israel, right? It was, pardon me, much more united. There was no meetings about different calendars on different days in the camps that I came up through and from. Now, you got biological siblings keeping holy days on different days. You can't tell me that that is upright. What are you talking about? What day are you keeping Passover? That was unheard of in 1985, 1986. It was more so, are you going to bring those bitter herbs? And I'll sit there and bring the unleavened bread. That was more so the conversation. The book of Exodus tells us concerning Passover, if a family's too small for a lamb, let them share it with their neighbor. What are we doing with our neighbors in these days and times? Debating, confrontation, disrespect, humiliation, trying to put the next one down. And then we go to our family members who believe whether the black or white Jesus, which this channel does not promote either or. When they sit up there, have their ham, have their pork, have their shrimps, crabs, and lobsters, things that we already know that we don't participate in and don't indulge in. But we kind of look hypocritical, and I say in no disrespect, when we don't take the time to build and say on our own. Let me give an example. There are sisters in Israel that can take a pair of pants and make a skirt out of it. But do they get the support and the love that they need in their business? Or is it you ain't part of my camp, so therefore I can't support that? You got brothers and sisters who have land, but yet you got black people talking about the price of eggs is high, so I'm going to go with Trump because under Biden this was 50 cents higher than that. So there's the job mindset, just over broke, and then there's the career mindset that says I'm going to sit there and spend more for my people, with my people, so we can sit there and become interdependent. That is something to point out in that regard. So somebody wrote, Saturday Sabbaths are Esau Judaism, aka heathenism Sabbaths. Forget jobs, your own business. Own your business as Israel. So how do we, maybe I should have gave the link if I had the time. How do we say to a family, I'm asking you online, right? When you say forget jobs and build that, how do we forget the jobs when we need it as a crutch in many cases as a start? I got to ask that question. When you typed in there, right? Forget jobs, own your own businesses as Yisrael. Many people support the businesses, use it from the money they get from jobs. So how can we then say, knowing logic and order of operations, can we say forget the jobs? Should we not say, let's use the jobs as a crutch that we have in order to sit there and build the businesses? When the children of Israel left up out of Egypt, the gold that they got, they despoiled the Egyptians in Exodus. That's in our book. The ancient Egyptians used to go into the Sinai and sit there and dig into the mountains to get those gems and everything like that. In the time after the Exodus, the Israelites used to go and get their weapons made and formed by going to the land of the Philistines. After King Saul got killed, David said, teach the men of Judah the bow and arrow. It's time to raise the bar. What do you mean do both if necessary? It is necessary. You know why it's necessary to have to do, say, your own businesses and use the jobs? Is because for many black people, whether you say you're an Israelite or not, we ain't passed nothing down to the children in many cases. So many do have to go out there and get the fast food job. Many do have to go out there and get the seasonal FedEx and the seasonal UPS jobs to sit there and have something to stand on. So unless we know somebody or some big family or tribe or camp, no disrespect in saying that, where they can sit there and say, we passed all this inheritance down to our children, many of us going to have to sit there and get this job. So it's not for argumentative purposes, but for understanding purposes and where we're coming from in this. Now, thank you for the comment, my friend. I don't know if you're male or female, so I'll just say friend in that particular case, right? When the children of Israel left up out of Egypt, and when we read later in the book of Deuteronomy, it says, wells dig that you did not dig, olives that you did not plant, houses that you did not build. That's in Deuteronomy 6. So the children of Israel was already going into something that they did not at first have to put their hands to the soil. What we're doing in this second Egypt is a little different. It's not so much agricultural by comparison to industrial. So you're going to find brothers and sisters who are learning a trade, learning a skill. So how then, in most cases, you have the job, then the career, then the business, and then pass that down? How can we say forget that, or then say if it is necessary, unless we are able to show our own selves and thus others, we have something that's left down from 2 and 3 generations, when the book of Proverbs says a wise man leaves an inheritance to his children's children? What book have we been reading? I'll tell you what book we've been reading. The book of my camp is better than yours. The book of I don't have to do that because my camp and my teacher, my Moreh, my Kohen, my Moshel does not say so. That's the book we've been reading. So when we point out things as in Exodus and Deuteronomy, and later on in the book of Kings and Samuel, do we understand the history and what happened from one time frame, say, to the next? Many of the jobs, sadly, that we do take, they have uniforms that are against the laws of Leviticus, where the garments are mixed fabric. That is a fact. That just go to show the state that we are in, while doing things to try to do things uprightly and honestly. We are not able to do the culture perfectly in captivity, in exile, not having our own vine and fig tree. This is not to sadden nobody or anything like that, but how can we sit there and tell our family that's sitting up there eating things we shouldn't eat, but meanwhile, we're in a situation where we can't even provide a job, where we are still breaking the same laws in Leviticus that's in this book of Leviticus about diet? As it says not to eat the swine and the shrimps and the crabs and the lobsters and the seafood that doesn't have fins and scales, we in many cases have jobs where we wear uniforms that are mixed fabric. So we cannot, knowing that, being in glass houses throwing rocks. We all, whether you say yourself as Israel or not, have to sit there and raise the bar. So as the video presents, let's get it together. This is what we're talking about. This is what we want to state. This is what we want to sit there and bring out to the people for edification and for reference purposes. So family, Israel, those who know themselves, do not, I ask you, do things and say things about other brothers and sisters when they go among family for any given time. Because when we go among these jobs with sodomites, male and female alike, with crooks, who knows what, male and female alike, we just got to know that we are still sadly the tail and not the head, and we can sit there and make a difference. And Israel, who does know ourselves, let's get it together regarding the timing of, say, holy days. Let's get it together. How can we sit there and prosper? We speak upon people making such a big commotion and ruckus about the holidays or the holidays, and we don't do it for our own days. It was like that before the calendars began to get changed in Israelite camps. It was much more packed in. There was no online, and everybody wasn't a set teacher going on their own platform back in the 1970s and 80s. It wasn't, I think Passover is with the moon this time. Oh, it was a month ahead. Oh, they added another month. It was really this. Before everybody began to become a Moreh, a teacher, a leader, a Moshel, it was a lot more organized. And so these are things that we care to sit there and bring out for reference purposes. Every day is a day to be thankful. You're above ground. Everybody can't say that. I'm not going to allow another person's misunderstanding of something make me feel bad. If anything, you're supposed to teach your family, your loved ones, your friends. This is what we will want to be thankful for. Should we or should we not? Or do we sit there and cut off our immediate family and then find out that the camps don't give a shit, and then find out, oh, damn, what happened? And I'm talking from experience. So again, you never, ever, ever trade in nation over family. If anything, you bring the family to the nation. But nation, When we got to sit there and get the timing of our holy days right and exact and correct in uniformity, let's do it. 2 examples. When they was building the Tower of Babel, they was in uniform. They were together. And these people were wicked as hell doing that. And it caused the Most High to break up their unity. When the children of Israel were doing wrong and worshiping idols, after the death of Solomon, you had the divided kingdom. The unity was broken. So now when people talking about different holy days at different times, who or what is causing that lack of unity? We already see a pattern. The lack of unity is a curse. The lack of unity is not good. The king is not supposed to lift his heart over his brethren. The tribe of the Levites was separated from the nation of Israel. But that's because you got more responsibility, you sons of Levi, your sons of the Levites. If anything, that's what that is. Not that you're better, but what you do is of significance. I wouldn't even say even better, but of significance. So let us all know our role and get it together. Because if I sit there and talk to immediate fam or anyone talks to immediate fam and they going around seeing 18 different calendars, they're going to look at us as a joke. Don't you get tired of being a laughing stock? And with that, shalom.